Hey yo, what's good? It's your boy, HazardJLed. As you can tell from the title of this video and that filthy intro, I finally hit GrandChamp. In total, I have about 1.5k hours in the game across PS4 and PC. 3 years ago when I first started playing, I would have never even dreamed about getting those glorious GrandChamp rewards. But when you really want something and you put in the hours, it can all be achieved. Also, I'm sorry about the lack of uploads, but I've been grinding this game because I've been so close to GC this past 2 weeks and I wanted to make sure I got it. So, what does me hitting GC have to do with anything? Well, one thing's for sure, a shed load of video ideas. For example, 10 things I did to get to GrandChamp, how to go from Champ 3 to GrandChamp, how to improve card control, and one of those bronze to GrandChamp progression montages. But for my latest video, I'm currently waiting for a couple of my IRL friends who are gold ranked to do a 1v1 so I can analyse it, because there's not really a lot of love for the low rank videos. Most videos you see are just people hitting absolutely bonkers shots or road to GrandChamps by every single pro player ever, so I want to give some hope to those lower ranked players. I also want to take some time to reflect on this journey to GrandChamp and come clean with no bullshit. The grind to get into GrandChamp for me was fucking painful. Since naturally I'm highly competitive, I hate losing, dude. There were times where I would be borderline Diamond 1, then go on a nasty 30 losing streak, which caused me to flame, and then I'd get banned in the chat for 24 hours. Even in Champ 2 I was still guilty of flaming, throwing, blaming my dog shit teammates. Maybe some were dog shit, but I will get to that point in a minute. Now this isn't to say you won't rank up being toxic, or being a douchebag McFuckface won't benefit you, but what I will say is if you have the determination to rank up, you will. Also, enlightened of my toxic behaviour, honourable mention, I would like to mention that one guy back when I was a lowly plat 1 and I beat him in a 1v1 and he called me shit, which makes sense since I just beat him, but what he said after stuck with me up until this day. You got lucky, you will never hit GC, maybe in 2s because it's the easiest game mode. Like, my guy, are you seeing this GrandChamp in 3s, dude? Come on. So with that being said and cleared off my chest, that dude can suck my left testicle. Swiftly moving on to a point I mentioned earlier, and that point is the whole shit teammate stigma. What took me so long to realise when I was high champ 3 and what Squishy said in his 10k hours video, mentality is the most important aspect of the game, regardless of how good your mechanics or game sense is. I put that into perspective in my own games, and this is why I no longer get frustrated losing. I'm gonna try and do my best to give you an analogy on this, but it's not the easiest. So in every team-based lobby, 2s and 3s, there's always going to be someone better than everyone, and someone who is the worst player, known as the runt of the pack. It doesn't matter what rank you are because it applies to all of them. So whenever I was sat in my Champ 3 lobbies, I would think, well, one team has to win, obviously, and one team is going to lose. One team is going to have the best player, and one's going to have the shittest. But the underlying message is, we're all Champ 3 players. Like, we've put a lot of time into this game, and we're all decent. So if any of us played in a Champ 2 or lower lobby, we would dominate. Basically what I'm trying to say is, there will always be a bigger fish, and you shouldn't bitch about it. Because why bother whining about something if it's not in your control? There's nothing you can do about it, just get on with it. If you're that pissed off about it, go look at the replay and find where you went wrong. People argue about all the bullshit, but they won't do that because they're scared of seeing all their mistakes. I was the same, but I do it now because holy shit, you can improve so much faster watching your own replays. There's a huge amount of talk and debates about new players and what they should work on, and most pros all agree on the same things, practice fundamentals, and I agree mostly, but there's still so many paths you can follow in order to get to GrandChamp. It's not set in stone that you have to nail the fundamentals. I always tell lower ranked players that if you want to improve faster, then spend the most time practicing the fundamentals as you get those opportunities way more in games than the fancy flip resets. I will give you a real life example of this, the sport golf. Which club do you use most? Is it the driver? No, it's the putter, because on every hole you always have to get the ball in the hole. Sure, it may be sick if you can drive the ball 500 yards, but if you take 90 shots to get it back in the hole, what's the point of having that big drive? It's the same thing with flip resets and all those other fancy mechanics. If you can only do them once, what's the point? You might as well be able to hit powerful shots from anywhere than to be able to pull off a flip reset once. However, this is going to contradict everything I say pretty much. When I was in their position, I only wanted to hit the type of shit Jezza was hitting, all those nutty double taps and things, because I preferred creativity than a lame ass P-roller goal. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Back to the past to GrandChamp. You can almost get to GrandChamp entirely from good mechanics, but it will take you much longer than incorporating great game sense. But really, it all ties down into what the player wants to get out of the game, because I took the mechanical side. It made the game more entertaining for me because I'd get called a smurf for hitting a ceiling shot in Gold 2, when in reality my game sense was probably Gold 1. I think one of the biggest factors stopping people from reaching those high ranks is determination. The reason I put so much time into the game was because there was a period in which all my IRL friends, who I used to play with and were similar ranks at the time, all switched to a game known as Fortnite. Around the time of Fortnite's release, I think I was sitting somewhere between Plat 1, maybe Plat 2, so I'd already put a lot of time into the game for back then. But I didn't like playing on my own. I always preferred someone in the chat because solo queuing, still back then, was a fucking nightmare. So I gave Fortnite a go, but it wasn't for me. I went back to Sweat and Rocket League, and none of my friends played Rocket League for around 5 months. This meant in that time period, I had 300 more hours played than them. When they did eventually get around to playing Rocket League again, I was Diamond 1, and I would shit on them every game. This made them not really want to play Rocket League with me, because I was that much better. Bear in mind, I was only Diamond 1, like Diamond 1's still not great. So, to curb my teammateless 2s and 3s, I would grind 1v1, and I believe solely that's what helped me to rank up faster even though I was a mechanical bitch, because I could go for freestyle stuff but be able to defend the counter attacks comfortably. Playing a lot of 1v1 also gave me more time to practice with the ball. Playing 2s and 3s, it's more just a fuckfest, and you got chases everywhere and you don't really get a chance to touch the ball. Now when I look at the ranked GrandChamp, I mean, bear in mind I'm still a low GrandChamp, but the game just feels so much nicer, it feels clean, no one's flaming, no one misses the ball, sort of. It's just a much nicer experience. On to my last point. In my opinion, the Platinum ranks are the toughest. Now why is this? Well, at this stage, casual players are going to get swept as most players in Platinum. I've put a few more hours into training packs, free play, all that kind of stuff. Then you have a high percentage of smurfs who play with their low ranked friends. And finally, like I said earlier about myself, you have the rage monsters who are in Diamond 1, sometimes 2, but they go on a 30 loss streak because they're completely tilted out of their heads and they get demoted to Plat. But then when they've calmed down, they will nail everyone because they shouldn't be in this low rank and they were just tilted to the max. This creates huge imbalances because the difference between 100 MMR and 300 MMR more, the skill gap is huge. So if you are in Plat watching this, make sure you grind your ass off because oh fucking hell, it's a tough road. That being said though, at the time I never thought I would get out of Plat 3 and into Diamond 1. Look at me now, your boy's in GrandChamp. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it and you put the work in. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found what I said useful, and if you have any video suggestions then make sure to comment them as I read every comment. Once again, thank you so much for the support. We're almost at 150 subscribers, so if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you can get relatable information thrown at your face. I will see all you in the next video. Peace.